There it is. Top right-hand corner, little orange button. Lets you know that the meeting's being recorded. Any concerns with this? Standard procedure for RDOS government meetings. Okay, moving on. Again, just housekeeping stuff. Try to mute yourself during the meetings, unless you want to talk. And then we really do want to hear you. But the rest of the time, if you can keep yourself on mute, it's helpful. Second, learn how to take yourself off mute, because some people double hit the button or something, and it seems to, be problematic. So if you're experiencing that, if you fit in that category, practice it with somebody, because we really do want to hear you, but it kind of disrupts the flow of things if we spend 5 minutes trying to wrestle you into voice mode. Okay, so I'm sure we can find someone to practice with you if you want to do that. Any other housekeeping items, either from Christy or anybody else before we get going? No. Okay. Approving the agenda. So we've got a recommendation from staff that we approve the agenda for June 9th for the Electoral D Service and Boundary Configuration Committee. Can I have somebody move that? Okay, I've got Bob, and second Phyllis. Okay, is there any discussion in terms of amendments or additions, etc.? We don't actively look to change the agenda hugely, but is there something somebody needs to bring forward? Kurt?
Yes, I do. I was having some serious problems connecting last time, and I had a nomination for chair, and it was overlooked, and I'm a little disappointed about that. If that just goes on the record, I don't think we can change it at this point, but. Okay.
Well, actually, we can talk about that off. Maybe we can come back to that. Because I don't want to, run away with something here. If somebody else, needs to, if we want to redo that process, we can talk about that. Christy's given us a point of order. Go ahead.
Process has been conducted. That is unfortunate, and I'm sorry about that, Kurt. What I would suggest is, if that sort of thing happens again, that you either email Crystal or I, and you'll have those email addresses from all the email that we send you, and that'll stop the meeting, and we'll say Kurt would like to get in and nominate somebody, so we'll stop for that. So if we know that somebody's trying to get in and they're having challenges, we can just stop and hold off on the meeting.
Okay, well, that wasn't made available to me prior, so that wasn't an option. I was going to nominate Kate, and I figured she has a ton of experience, and I was really hoping to bring that forward. So I guess it's a moot point at this point.
Okay. Well, I'm certainly willing to discuss that with Christy afterwards, after the meeting. So maybe we can have that discussion and come back to you, Kurt.
That'd be great. Thank you, Matt.
Okay, any other items that people, or changes to the agenda that somebody'd like to put forward, additions? Hearing none, I'll call the question. That the agenda be adopted. All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Kurt? Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. All those opposed? Okay. The motion's carried. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to move on, Kurt, but I'm sorry I haven't addressed your issue at the moment, and I'll try and address it before the next meeting comes up.
No, it's all good, Matt. It's all good,
Okay.
Matt. I mean, we have a process, and I'm all in favor of following it. Let's carry on.
Okay. Now, receipt of minutes for our last meeting. We've got, again, a recommendation from staff that the minutes of June 9th for the committee be adopted. Can I have a mover, please? Okay, I've got David, and I think I saw Eleanor second. Yeah. Okay, so we've got a motion on the floor. Any discussion of the minutes? Okay, hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of the minutes being adopted, raise your hand or say aye. Okay. All those opposed? Hearing, seeing none, that motion's carried. Okay, thank you. Next item up, logo branding. Whoop, sorry, point of order. Christy.
Sorry, Chair. I see that Mylene is not on camera, which means if she has any voting issues or anything like that, I have not seen an email from her. So, Mylene, if you are able to hear me, if you would like to use your raise hand button.
She's somehow she's got two things. All right. Yeah, you had me going too.
There you go. We're good.
So I think we're good. Back on logo. I don't know if everybody's seen last page of the package that was sent out, the logo that was used for the Electoral Area D governance study. Hard to see. Hopefully you've all seen it. Like I say, last page of the package. So that's what was used before. And I think a suggestion has been made that we take that, modify it, perhaps as simply as changing it from Electoral Area D governance study to Electoral Area D boundary configuration study, and we move on. Anyway, that's, I think, the suggestion. Are there any other suggestions? Floor is open. Any comments from staff to lead us off here? Real live bunch tonight.
Sorry about that. I was just on another screen. I'm at home. I only have the one screen, so I'm bouncing back and forth. But so Mylene did produce one with the actual boundary configuration and wording on it and everything, and it looks really lovely. And it was recognizable when we were doing the study back in 2015, 2016. People did come to recognize it, and I just thought, you know, from a branding perspective, it would be really great to continue to use that again if the committee did wish to do so.
Great, thanks, Christy. Bob.
Yeah, just further what Christy said. Anytime anything was published by the governance study committee with the logo on top that was just immediately recognizable, and I certainly support the idea of a logo. Something similar to this would be just great.
Okay, thanks, Bob. Mylene. This is really tricky. Is this going to be Mylene with the face or Mylene that's gray talking to us? Try again, Mylene. Okay, while you're working on that, I've got Phyllis. Go ahead, Phyllis.
So I was just going to say that as long as it's recognizable, but it's distinguishable that this is a current study and not, you know, historic, that somehow we can, you know, people recognize it, but they don't think that it's old paperwork. So some type of, you know, attention to the year somehow, you know, for the timeline.
Go ahead, Kurt.
Yeah, I'd really like to hear from Mylene. I mean, graphic design is kind of up her alley, and she probably has some expertise on this point. Unfortunately, we're having a poor connection.
How fast can you type, Mylene? Can you type a chat note?
Can you hear me well now?
Yep. Nope.
Yeah. Can you hear?
But if you want to try again.
No.
We just got the tail end of you then. Try again. Okay, no, not hearing you. If you want to try phoning me or someone else, certainly if you phone me, I can put you on speakerphone. I've tried that. I've done that before and it does work. Jim, you've got a comment.
May I suggest that Mylene sign out of both of the accounts and then re-sign in again? Because I think the trouble is because she signed in twice.
Want to try that, Mylene? We'll wait for you. While we're waiting, first off, if I'm not jumping in, is there anyone else got a comment? So I'm just going to suggest if, as a background, either in the middle of the circle or behind the circle that Mylene's got, if we just had a schematic that showed the lake and Area D, that might be something to consider as well. That, you know, the same diagram, changed words, and then behind the three people with the puzzle pieces, just a schematic of the lake and the current boundaries of the area. That's not too jazzy. Anyway, that's my suggestion. David, were you making a question?
Yeah, what about adding the date to the logo?
Okay.
Year.
2021, 22.
That would distinguish it from the earlier one.
Yep. Bob?
Matt, could we perhaps ask Mylene to do a couple of proposals that we could circulate to everybody and perhaps make a choice?
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Mylene, have you managed to log in again or log out and log in? Do you want to try one more time? Okay. Well, Mylene, you're one of our heavy hitters. We're all heavy hitters, but we definitely want to hear from you as time goes on. So I hope we work this out. Kurt?
Yeah, just another question off topic while Mylene's getting organized there. Are we going to be able to meet in person soon?
Question for Christy, but I'm presuming the answer should be yes. But Christy, go ahead.
Yeah, so as soon as the regulations allow us to do so in the regional district, because the board of directors has passed a resolution, you know, stating when we'll go back to meetings and that. I think it's proposed for September. However, things change. And so, yeah, as soon as we can, we'll absolutely be in person. It makes it a whole lot easier for everyone.
Yep. Okay. Any other comments? We've had some suggestions, changing the wording around it, adding a date. possibly putting a schematic in the back and inviting Mylene to take that commentary and possibly come forward with a suggestion or two for the next meeting. Mylene, do you want to try saying something now? No? Okay. Going to move on then. Unless staff, Christy, anything else you want to add before we move on here? You're muted. You're muted.
Sorry about that. Crystal, do we have a dial-in number that Mylene could use to dial into the conference call? Did Danny provide you one of those? Should be a toll-free 1-833 number.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Go ahead, Mylene.
Can you hear me now?
Yep. Okay. I'm gonna, last time, Mylene, give it a whirl. No. Okay, feel free to dial in if Crystal's able to get you a
Yeah.
phone only dial-in line. Yeah. I keep getting this, can you hear me now? And then there's nothing.
I'm getting a message that she's got low bandwidth, so it's got nothing to do with what she's doing. It's something to do with the internet at her site. So I think the best way is your original suggestion is that she phone you and you put her on speakerphone.
Eileen, here's my number. 403 607 403 607 1080. I just changed my speakers. Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Here we go. Okay, Mylene, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, folks, can you hear Mylene? Somewhat? All right, go ahead, Mylene.
Fiber optic, that's what I need.
All right. That's a different committee.
Yeah, probably. I did create a new logo. I did send it in to Crystal. I basically took the one that we used before and changed the white lettering around the circle. And I do like the idea of putting the year in there. It would have to say 2021/2022, which makes good sense. I also did send along a couple sample pieces from last year, so it kind of gave a little bit more of an idea of what things looked like. So around the outside, it had, what the different services are, and then it incorporated the RDOS corporate colors to give it that professional branding. And then anytime that anything came out, whether it was a poster at a mailbox or whether it was a flyer in your mail or an ad in Skaha Matters or something on social media, it had that same consistent image and that same branding throughout. So it drew people in and identified that it is part of the study and what it was about. So I do think that that would be very key. Again, like I say, I did forward those things along, and I was hoping that those would be on everybody's desktop so we could talk about them tonight, but I guess that didn't happen, obviously. But yes, I can definitely tweak the logo to up to date and perhaps prepare something for the first one that would come out, which would be for August, hopefully. Is that correct, Christy? A quarter-page ad for August? So I could prepare a proof for that we could discuss at our next meeting?
That's correct. Yeah. I think Crystal's going to send the email. Crystal, if you could, with Mylene samples out to everybody right now. I'm not sure whether you can all access your email right at the moment, but perhaps
Or you can
that'll
just
help us out.
pop it up on your screen.
I'm not able to share. For some reason, we're having all sorts of glitches tonight. I'm not able to share. Are you, Chair?
Nope. I don't have a share thing either. I have done it before using this system, but I don't have it.
Oh.
I'm not, for this call, I haven't been given that preference. Okay. Christy, are you sending that around?
Crystal is forwarding that to everybody, so you should
Sorry.
receive that in the next few minutes. So you could circle back if you'd like at the end. Hey, you didn't call me Chrissy though, so that's okay.
Okay. All right, we'll come back to that. Okay with you, Mylene?
Yep, that sounds great.
Okay. No problem. No problem. We're going to keep you on just the way we've got you for the rest of the call. Okay. All right. Moving on. Want to look at the proposal for or the proposals provided for study consultant. As I understand it, we're supposed to go into a closed session in order to do that. So I have another recommendation from staff that in accordance with section 91-J of the community charter, the community close the meeting to the public on the basis of information that's prohibited or information that if were presented in a document would be prohibited from disclosure under section 21 of the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. Okay.